Right, that was the jingle for the news section. First item of business. Golden Globes and the SAG nominations have come out. So two pretty big film and TV critical award ceremonies. Golden Globes, obviously everyone knows about. The SAGs, quite prestigious as well in their own rights. You know, I mean, the SAGs almost always get the Oscar winners for Best Actor and Actress rights. They're quite a good barometer for what you're going to see later on. And there were some weird ones in there, I'm going to be dead honest. From me looking at them, you know, fine if things like The Crown are getting a ton of nominations. I understand that. But a couple of things I read about. So the Golden Globes has this whole thing about, there's a TV show that came out a couple of months ago called Emily in Paris.
This is the one I've seen. This is the one I've seen.
Everything I've heard about this is that it is awful. It's supposed to be just like some vanity project about Paris. If people didn't know what Paris was, which doesn't make a ton of sense to me. And it's got loads of nominations. It's got some nominations, I don't know how many, over things that people are saying is more worthy. Now, one of the writers from Emily in Paris, as well as the lead, I think it's Lily Collins, both came out and said, why have we been nominated over these other things? This show isn't any good. What are we thinking about that? Because that's pretty rogue from the film industry to just straight up say, why are you doing this?
I think, it was pretty shocking, to be honest. And like you mentioned, getting nominations over I May Destroy You, which was like, I loved that series. I think it was like different. It was striking. It kind of was something really new. And I don't really understand. This is why I don't really pay attention to awards, I think, because stuff like this getting overlooked, once again, awards getting kind of whitewashed is just a bit frustrating and tiring.
That was the big one in the UK, wasn't it? I May Destroy You.
Michaela
Cole. Yeah.
So from what I know, she's done quite a lot of avant-garde style filmmaking and things in like mainstream media in the UK, things on the BBC, with mixed reviews, to be fair, obviously, because we've got a fairly elderly population that watch the BBC, and I don't think they appreciate sometimes what she's trying to do. But by and large, what I've seen of stuff that she's done, and I'll admit I've never watched a full series of anything that she's done, but at least she's got a very interesting, unique, and quite individual style of making things. And yeah, from what I've heard about Emily in Paris, it's just a bit ridiculous. But is this what it's like, guys? Is this common? Have we seen this before?
I mean, the Oscars did not set a good precedent. I think I can't remember how many years ago it was now, 2, maybe 3. There was the white Oscars, wasn't it? Where I think it was it Chris Rock? Did he boycott it, or did he just do a really damning indictment speech? I think he was hosting, and then Kevin Hart was supposed to host the year after and said no, because there had been no one nominated who essentially wasn't a white actor or actress. And people were saying, how does this work? You know, who are the people doing these nominations and things? And that's why this SAG thing sort of bothers me as well, because I'm looking at the films on there, and they're all big films. They're all films I've either heard of or know that are being tipped for awards. You know, you've got smaller films like Minari and Nomadland, but then you've got some of the really big ones that you're seeing every year, the sort of blockbuster films that people will know about and are critically acclaimed. Fine. But then you look at strange ones, and then you've got things like Spike Lee, pretty big directed a lot of famous films, Do the Right Thing, Malcolm X, a lot of other ones. I think it was just called Malcolm, actually. I can't really remember. He directed a film called Da 5 Bloods last year.
We've got a review, should be out by the time this podcast comes out.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to write some horrible things about this film.
Save the Stub Instagram.
That's a fun preview, isn't it? Yeah, have a look at that. This film's not good. Objectively, it is not a good film. Yeah, it doesn't make sense. It's really jumbled. It's got some famous people in it, but that's about it. And it's been nominated for every award under the sun. And I think it's won the best film from the Critics Association. And I just cannot understand why, apart from the fact that Spike Lee directed it. But I think this is almost twofold, because one of the main characters, and main's a bit of a liberal way of using the word main character, is Chadwick Boseman, who obviously passed away last year. And he's in it for all of 10 to 15 minutes and has received a nomination for Best Supporting Actor. Now, I understand why he's been nominated. Posthumous awards are not an unusual thing. You know, Heath Ledger won one for The Dark Knight. He won one for Best Supporting Actor in that. Back in, when was that, 2009, something like that. But I don't think you can really be nominated for an award if you aren't really in the film. because he is, when I talk supporting actor, he is not even in the 5 supporting actors that are most on screen in this film. He is a flashback character who also doesn't really have much to do and doesn't really do anything interesting. But he's been nominated for this award. And again, with this film having won, Spike Lee's getting nominated, the reviews for this film are bad from critics and, general audience alike. Can you really justify nominating people posthumously or just based on the name that they're bringing to a show? Like, I just don't think that's all. Well, I mean, Rory, what would you say to that?
I think it's a tough comparison when you talk about posthumous awards with Heath Ledger, because Heath Ledger's performance in Dark Knight was like outstanding.
Yeah, it was more than anyone I could think of.
That's fair. But I feel like the trouble with having these awards ceremonies that are kind of seem to completely ignore Black excellence, Black producers, Black artists, is that I don't think the way to go about acknowledging this stuff is having it kind of broadcast and having it being like, here's our Black excellence film of the week. I feel like the whole point of stuff like this is you have to normalize it, give credit where credit's due. But as soon as you put too much pressure on it, it's like it takes away a lot of the value from it in my head. And I think Spike Lee's a great director and a great screenwriter in some of the films he's done. But I don't think he should kind of get that acclaim when there are so many Black directors, Black actors out there putting work in that isn't kind of that, like you said, there's kind of maybe more lowbrow films. But I think that is where you need to give your attention if you're going to kind of make things more equal.
I mean, Will, when you see a film, if you see it's got awards and nominations and wins and, they've plastered those all over the ads and the box cover and things like that, does that make you more inclined to watch it, or are you almost more wary knowing how awards stand at the moment?
Yeah, I think it's interesting. I think for loads of casual viewers, if you're looking at film posters at the cinema thinking about what you're going to watch, and by the way, I don't know why you'd go to the cinema if you had no idea what you were going to watch, but if you were looking at posters trying to decide what to watch and you'd seen that it'd been nominated for 6-7 awards, whether that's an Oscar, BAFTAs, Golden Globe, whatever, that is going to significantly influence what you're going to watch. These people are supposed to be judging films objectively. They're supposed to be awarding things for, best in category films. So, if they're saying it's good, then why would you not listen? But as soon as you pull back the curtain, it seems like a lot of these decisions on nominations and things, it's kind of based on emotional ties and where's the industry heading? Do we need to promote this certain type of film to ensure that people keep watching? There's all kinds of things that go on, and I think you become more aware of that the more you look into it. But as a casual viewer, you're still going to listen to the Oscars, what the Oscars have got to say, or what the Grammys are going to say, Golden Globes, whatever. Grammys is music, is it? Gee.
That's all right. I don't think anyone noticed.
We'll brush over that one. But yeah, so it's interesting, but I think they're losing power. I think it's clear from people's attitudes and kind of media pieces that have started to emerge over the last few years. And even like you say, Harry, people that are directly involved, people that are hosting these award shows, actively saying things against them while they're on stage at the awards. That's damaging for them. And I think we are already seeing change, but like Rory said, is the change coming in the right kind of format? I think that's still up for debate.